All right, thanks for tuning in this week. Basement Boy Banter, episode 4. I want to thank all you basement dwellers for tuning in. Your number one spot for all things Basement Boy related. Big week. Last week was huge. This week, even more news.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to get right into it. First topic tonight, the Antman trailer. We talked about it last week. We saw it the day after we taped. It was amazing. That first trailer it didn't really have the fun. I mean, it was a little darker than I thought it was going to be. But this trailer this trailer was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, everything about it, like him talking to the ants, him shrinking, like running along the gun, like some of the action sequences they showed, and then Yellow Jacket in action, which we talked about in last week's show, wanting to see that. And it did not disappoint. I think my favorite shot, though, from the trailer was that the toy train shot with the Thomas the Tank Engine. I mean, when they do that back out shot, it's amazing. That was great.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
I really liked it. It was fun, and it wasn't too serious. It was lighthearted enough where I could be like, yeah, I could get behind this. And they kind of showed off what they can do as far as the comedy in that.
Yeah.
Because all Marvel movies have to have a little bit of jokiness to it.
Well,
you know
Paul Rudd, Paul Rudd's going to bring some funny.
So they do a good job of showing, hey, we're going to be kind of funny. We're not going to, there'll be serious moments, but the whole thing's not going to be serious. We got some ha. They're on a train. I actually showed it to my girlfriend, right after I watched it.
What'd she think?
She came over, and, she was, getting all excited during it. And she likes the stuff, but she's not,
She's not a rabid fan.
Right. She by no means is she you or I a
Right.
fan level, but she's probably going to want to see it right when it comes out with me. So it's even non-big comic book and that's what's kind of special about that trailer. People who don't know Ant-Man or don't care about random faceless, nameless hero that isn't Batman, Superman, Spider-Man can see that trailer and get excited.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And that's what's cool about it and cool about that movie, or what hopefully is cool about that movie, and why Marvel does such a good job with these things as of late.
They do an amazing job.
You can bring in people who aren't huge fans. My dad's not a huge fan of comic book stuff either, but he watched a little bit of Daredevil, which we're going to talk about later.
Well, and them older guys, they love heist movies, and it's a heist movie. I mean, one of my favorite parts of that trailer, besides the train part, was when Scott Lang's saying, yeah, I'm done stealing, and he's like, what do you need me to do? I need you to break in somewhere and steal some stuff. It just makes sense. That's just that little tongue-in-cheek stuff. It's perfect to set that tone of, it's a heist movie, but it's fun. And you know what I think is, a lot of people assume that Age of Ultron is going to be kind of the prequel to what happens in Civil War. I think that's wrong. I think what's going to happen is Ant-Man's actually going to be the prelude to Civil War, and not as much Age of Ultron being the setup. So that's another reason I'm really excited to see how that movie really, because honestly, Age of Ultron isn't the end of Phase 2. Ant-Man is the last movie in Phase 2, before Phase 3 begins. So I'm really excited to see this movie. I mean, I was already going to see it regardless, but now after that trailer, I'm very excited to see this movie.
Yeah.
So
it's like Guardians. Guardians got me excited with its trailers.
That had some great trailers with the music and stuff.
Yeah. Oh. So it's at first I'm like, oh, Guardians of the Galaxies, whatever. But then I, watched the trailers and I got crazy excited. And Ant-Man's doing the same thing. They're doing a good job keeping us interested.
Yeah. Well, and now that they're getting closer and closer to Age of Ultron, they're putting more towards the marketing of that film, which they had to do, And I still think that mid-credit scene is going to be connected to Ant-Man in some way.
Hopefully.
For Age of Ultron. We'll see next week. Or week after.
Somewhere in there.
Soon.
When it happens.
When it happens.
You'll know.
So in more trailer news, Star Wars Celebrations this week, they had the big panel with JJ and Kathleen Kennedy, and they brought out the original cast, the new cast. Everybody, they brought out BB-8. It was crazy. But then right at the end, dropped the new teaser trailer. I mean, it's a trailer, it's a teaser, it's kind of a hybrid between the two. It's 2 minutes long. I'm sure you've all seen it by now multiple times. I think I watched it 8 times the first day it came out.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was ridiculous. it was everything I'd hoped for from a Star Wars trailer. Like, it was everything it needed to be. It had, it had Jedi in it. It had Luke talking in the beginning, and when just that opening scene where the speeder's going by and you see the Star Destroyer crash on that planet, which we found out isn't Tatooine. That was just like, this is Star Wars. And then when you see Darth Vader's helmet and that first shot of the Millennium Falcon flying into the crashed Star Destroyer, like, that's Star Wars. Like, that to me is Star Wars. And then the perfect ending. I mean, any other movie, that trailer ending with, Han and Chewie were home, maybe a little cheesy. But for Star Wars, perfect. I mean, couldn't have been more perfect. You see that grizzled old Harrison Ford, Chewie looking just badass with the crossbow. We're home. Like, I'm pumped. I mean, December cannot come soon enough. I hate winter, but I'm excited for winter this coming winter. I know I liked it more than you did, though.
Well, honestly, the first teaser trailer captured my interest a lot more, just because, like, after I watched the new one, I watched the old one again and then the new one again, just to kind of get some perspective on them.
Comparison.
And I liked the old one because it was like Star Wars stuff, Star Wars stuff, Star Wars stuff, Star Wars stuff. And then it was like, Merry Christmas from Nerd Gods. Because it's like, it's like a Christmas present from
definitely.
Disney to us.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just, I don't know. There was something about it. I got chills when I watched the first one. The second one, I don't know. And there's something.
Really? See, the first one was good, but it didn't give me chills. The second one, I literally was like goosebumps over my whole body, especially when you see the metal hand reach up and touch R2-D2. And there's just some of those shots that,
I don't know.
I mean, it's just a trailer. Like any of these trailers, they're just trailers. The movies could be absolutely garbage, but
unlikely.
Very unlikely. I mean, the chances of that is pretty slim.
I don't know. You see the frickin' Darth Vader mask, and that's like the best part of that trailer. I honestly,
Really?
As far as individual parts in each trailer, the second one had the better part. That part is the best part out of all trailers, because I think it's a good symbol of George Lucas is done.
Right.
Because that Darth Vader mask is like, George Lucas is done. We're moving. It's a new chapter.
Well, I think this whole movie's more passing of the torch. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like, I have a feeling some of the old cast might die, especially
Wow.
Han in particular.
He looks like he needs to take a nap. Harrison
he's
Ford
tired.
looks
He's
tired.
an old guy.
Yeah.
But, I mean, this is more of a passing of the torch movie anyways, I really like that trailer. There were some shots in that trailer. Seeing Kylo Ren's mask, seeing the hilted lightsaber.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some stuff.
Well, did you ever see the Star Wars holiday special?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
When Harrison Ford's like, Chewie, we're home. I got like horrible flashbacks to the Star Wars holiday special. I'm like, no, not again. Lucas, get out of here.
The one thing that I was most excited for, though, talking about the trailer and the press conference, was JJ talking about going the extra step and using actual, not CGI, but practical effects. Using the practical effects, and it really shined through. I mean, when they rolled BB-8 out, when BB-8 rolled itself out onto the stage, that wasn't
probably good for the mic.
No, probably not. Probably not. That might have spiked. But then they had R2 and BB-8 out there at the same time. Man. There's not much that they're doing wrong right now over at Disney. I mean, they're doing a lot of things right. I mean, that's not the only celebration news we got. There's more we'll get to,
tons.
Later. There's a lot of stuff came out. Well, actually, real quick though, I do want to talk about, now it's not the Rebellion and the Empire anymore. It's the Order and the Resistance, which I thought was interesting because I'm not really sure which one is which. Because you think since the Empire had fallen, the Order would actually be like Leia and the New Order. Whereas the Resistance might actually be Kylo Ren, the Stormtroopers, the dark side.
That's
the Resistance is the dark side, and the Order is the light.
I think you're right. Star Wars fans, feel free to correct us in the comments.
Oh, please do, because I'm sure
I think
some wrong stuff.
because I have a friend, he's like, if you have a Star Wars question, he can tell you what bar on what planet.
Does he read the novels, like the new ones, like Tarkin? And
He reads
and New
the wiki
Hope,
every day, pretty
really?
much. Like the dude's obsessed, so he can tell you what drink was served at what bar at what point to who. Like, he knows everything, so he would know better than me. But I swear he said something about how, because I think this is an idea taken from other older Star Wars like novel stuff,
Like from the old like Legends series, like the stuff that's expanded.
I don't remember
universe,
what
but
it,
isn't
but
canon.
the extended universe was, if I remember right, the Resistance is the Empire and the Order is. So I think you're right, but I don't want to be quoted 100%, but I think you're right.
We'll find out. I
yeah.
mean, we'll find out one way or
Let us
another.
know,
Let us know
guys.
what you guys think. Let us know if you guys, share my opinion, have a different opinion, or, think we're completely
Wrong.
there. You go.
But with our considering how right we were about WrestleMania, I think we
were?
you were.
That's right.
I think we're gonna go. I think you are gonna go 2-0 here. But
Hopefully, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, if I was a betting man, I wouldn't put a lot of money in it. But so, and more trailer news. Literally right before we went on the show. Well, Batman vs Superman trailer is out. There was a 20-second snippet that landed 2 or 3 days ago.
Yeah.
Then yesterday, the trailer leaked online, but it was Spanish or some other.
bad.
Yeah, it was taped from a movie theater, but it was not in English except for the audio part, and there were subtitles, but they weren't English subtitles. I don't know what kind of subtitles there were. So then today, Warner Brothers was like, screw it, we're just gonna put the trailer out a couple days early because it wasn't supposed to come out till Monday.
Right. Yeah.
So they dropped it. We just got done watching it literally right before we taped the show. I'm actually, like,
Yeah.
I mean, I like that. Do you bleed? We'll find out. Or like, I like that part. I like some of the shots were cool, but it didn't. It was no Star Wars trailer.
No.
It was no Ant-Man trailer. I mean, if you had to ask me of those 3 films, what am I most excited for? Star Wars #1, Ant-Man #2, Batman vs Superman #3, and Warner Brothers cannot be
Number
3
3
behind 2 Marvel films. They
No.
just can't. I mean, well, not 2 Marvel, 2 Disney films.
Right. No,
They
they
just
cannot
can't.
do that. Mm-mm.
I mean, yeah, it's not until 2016 we only saw, less than 2 minutes, barely.
This is when they should be doing the hardest work, though.
No,
This
because
is when they should be
they're more than a year out of this movie.
right. But these teasers need to be like
Realistically,
insane.
no, I don't think so. I think realistically, they're just trying to have we're talking about it tonight. You know what I mean? If they don't put out that trailer, we probably don't mention Batman versus Superman tonight. You know what I'm saying? Like, we talk about
Yeah.
Ant-Man, we talk about Star Wars, we talk about this. So they're keeping it in the forefront for a movie that doesn't come out till next summer. You don't have to do much. I mean,
Yeah.
that first Star Wars trailer dropped about a year early. This first Batman one's dropping about a year early.
But people liked that first Star Wars.
They did,
trailer.
and I don't know how people are going to react. I haven't read any
Right.
what other people thought. If I was putting it on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm giving it like a 7.
That-
like it's
you're being
barely
nice.
like it.
It was.
I thought there were some cool shots. I
that's
liked, Batman's voice sounded cool.
The only problem is like Deadpool. They sort of showed off their suits in a more clever way. And
the marketing for Deadpool has been genius.
But that's what I mean. How
you can't
can
compare that.
Warner Brothers not put half the effort of?
Well, it's Batman versus Superman. They don't have to do as much work. Deadpool is a lesser known property. Like, you need to build more excitement. There's already a fan base that's gonna go see. Like, I'm still gonna go see that movie regardless.
No, I agree, but
And that was only the first. That was actually the first teaser. So like the first Star Wars teaser, that was the first Batman Superman teaser. So I want to see more. I want to see a little bit more of, because that really didn't show us anything. I mean, it really didn't, and I think that's why I didn't like it so much, because it didn't give me enough. Like, a teaser is supposed to whet my appetite. It barely did it. You know what I mean? It was, yeah.
the one part I did really like, though, is when it's the Superman and the lights are going up on the statue of Superman, and then it's spray painted false god on it.
Yeah.
Like, that
that's
part
gonna
was
be
good. That was good.
There's gonna be some interesting stuff. I like some of the newscasts in the background talking about like what gives him the right, because that's real questions. That if that happened now, that's what you would hear on Fox News, CNN. they be talking about what gives this alien the right to come down,
especially Fox
do whatever
News.
he wants, probably, but do whatever he wants with no checks and balances. So it's going to be interesting either way to see how it plays out. But I wasn't, it didn't blow me away. I wasn't blown away.
Yeah.
I mean, let us know what you guys think. You guys agree, disagree? Watch the trailer. I mean, it's okay. It's not horrible. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen.
By no means is it.
But I mean, look at the Transformers 4 trailers. Those were amazing. But that movie was a giant pile of garbage. So
yeah. Well, and it's kind of interesting to see them play it. Batman's the good guy, sort of, because usually they play it like Superman is the
he's the Boy Scout.
He's the good guy, and Batman's the one who's technically evil, but he's good. He just knows what's better for us. This, they're kind of trying to play him like Superman doesn't have the right, and Batman's gonna stop him.
Yeah, well, that's definitely what the trailer portrayed for sure.
And I kind of like that because it puts a different-ish spin on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're kind of trying to say
when I like the armored suit with the lighted up eyes and stuff. That'll be cool because that's just like the Dark Knight Returns, the Frank Miller thing. I mean, it's right from
and I like
right
the voice with there's some good stuff in it. By no means are we saying don't watch it.
It's just not what I was hoping for.
Yeah.
So
Not 5-star, blow your mind, get you crazy excited,
Right.
but like if you could only watch 2 trailers out of the 3 we mentioned, that
Ant-Man
would be
and
the
Star
one
Wars.
you'd skip Superman, Batman.
Well, there'll be a lot more in the next year, so you can just wait for that. But yeah, so moving on from there, no more trailer news. We're actually going to talk about some more Batman stuff, though. New animated movie came out this week, Batman versus Robin. DC does a great job with their line of animated features. I think I own every single one.
Yeah.
And they're amazing. This movie was good. It wasn't great. The action sequences were fantastic. The story was all right. I'll give it it's a pass. If it's a pass fail, it's a pass. The dialogue though and some of the voice acting not great. I mean, if you even watch Throne of Atlantis, the last one, that was an exceptional movie. This is definitely a step down from that.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it wouldn't be in my top 5 of DC animated movies. Both of the last 2 Justice League ones, War, Throne of Atlantis, Assault on Arkham,
Yeah.
and the one that this spuns off of, Batman and Son, was better than this one.
Yeah.
If you own them all like I do, definitely buy it.
Yeah.
If you don't, this isn't the one to start with. Don't just buy this one as your first one. Go back and get some of the other ones on Blu-ray.
Or wait for the next one. The next one looks so good.
Oh, the preview of Justice League God and Monsters that they put on the Blu-ray.
It's worth getting.
It's
Batman.
different.
Yeah.
It's a very, very different twist. If you can find it, it's a special edition or it's a special feature on the Blu-ray copy of Batman versus Robin, and it's worth the watch for sure.
It's worth getting Batman versus Robin just for that trailer, in my opinion.
Think you could probably find that somewhere else.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Like
no,
that,
it's exceptional. It's a completely different spin on Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman. So it's the 3 characters but completely different. They're not good. They're definitely not heroes, and they're not the people we know. Batman is not Bruce Wayne. Batman is actually not Scott Lang. Robert Langstrom, the guy who becomes Man-Bat. Robert Langstrom.
Yeah, it's Man-Bat.
Superman's not the son of Jor-El, but the son of Zod.
I like that choice.
And
a
Wonder
lot.
Woman's not Diana from Themyscira. I can't remember the name of the girl, but she's from Apocalypse.
Yeah.
So she's still a god, but she's from Apocalypse.
I think that one was not made up, but they took it from a really old kind of.
They put a different spin on an old character.
Right. I don't think that, if I remember correctly, the way
Batman's
they
a
were talking.
vampire in it. It looks.
Oh, it looks good.
It looks trippy. It looks great though. I'm definitely looking forward to getting that one. I'm hoping that's going to be a step up from this latest one. I mean, what did you think?
Well, I liked Batman versus Robin to a point. There was, like you said, the dialogue was rough at point. Like when he's like, get the hell out of my cave. Like,
some of the dialogue just killed scenes for me, especially with the child actor who played Damien.
Batman was worse than him.
Yeah, he had some bad parts too. It was no Kevin Conroy, that's for sure.
It was a little bit rough.
You know what character I like the most out of that one though? It's the Talon, which because it's a new 52 story of the Court of Owls, but completely different than the actual comic storyline. But the Talon character in that film was excellent.
Yeah, well, and I liked the idea behind the story a lot.
It was just the execution.
And some of the voice acting, that's honestly my biggest complaint. If I had to pick one thing I didn't like about it, it was the voice acting.
Which
Otherwise,
is
it was fine.
Which is really surprising because this isn't the first time. I mean, these are the same voice actors that did Batman and Son. You're talking about Andrea Romero, who's been doing voice directing for since I was a young lad. Bruce Timm's involved. Amazing producer. So the team
is good.
They do great work. It's just, every once in a while you swing and miss. Or, it's a pop-up, pop fly. It wasn't a triple or a home run. Right. It was a pop fly. Whatever. But so that's kind of our thought on that. So go check it out. It's definitely worth a watch. I mean, it's definitely worth a watch, especially if you've seen Batman and Son. Definitely check out Batman versus Robin. Moving on from there, we're going to go back to Netflix. So we talked about Daredevil last week a little bit. We're into it. One of us has finished the season. One of us hasn't. I'm only like 4 episodes out. The last episode I saw, no spoilers, but God, that Kingpin character in that series is by far the best part of the series.
Oh, it gets so much crazier.
The layers to that character, even through episode 10, unlike any villain we've seen in any Marvel property to this point. I think even better than Loki. Obviously so better than like Ronan, a lot of the villains from the movies, because they don't have that character development that they get to do in the Netflix series with the 13 episodes,
And it's even like, maybe it's sacrilege to say, but like he's on par with like Heath Ledger Joker, like sort of like, I don't know. There's some. He's got vulnerabilities. He's evil. But he's not mad. See, Heath Ledger's Joker was mad, right?
Like crazy, not like angry mad, but I'm saying like crazy off his rocker mad. Kingpin is controlled chaos. You know what I mean? Like when little spoiler, when he separates that dude's head with that car door, he lost it for a second. Because he was embarrassed, but it showed a vulnerability, and his response to that vulnerability was so dark and just. Sorry, Mike.
He's just so off kilter, and it's like you see it
blue cup.
So throughout the series. Like, I don't want to give away anything.
Yeah, we're trying to be spoiler free as much as possible.
There's some his girlfriend. She plays way more than just. It's his girlfriend role. It's nothing like to be like, whoa, twist. But she's important as far as like character traits.
I gotta finish it.
I actually have a list of what I didn't like and liked about it. I didn't like Matt. So Daredevil out. He's just not in it enough for me to tell you anything about him. Like, I love how much Daredevil's in it, but Matt is just styrofoam to me. Like, it's hard to tell where the two characters separate. And yeah, you can say, oh, they're not supposed to. He's the same guy. But every alter ego needs to be like,
Bruce Wayne and Batman, they're
and they
separate.
need to be different enough and act different enough where you're like, they are different people. They can't just say one thing or whatever. Like, Bruce Wayne is so different than Batman when he's in Batman mode. And that's because...
Peter Parker... Well, yeah, Peter Parker's pretty different once he's Spider-Man from Peter Parker. If it's like the scientist Peter Parker.
Right.
There's a lot of incarnations of Peter Parker. But
there's just not enough of him. And it's one of those trade-offs.
I guess in the last few episodes, he has kind of disappeared a little bit.
He's basically gone.
I didn't even really notice it because I was so enthralled with that Kingpin character that I guess I really didn't even notice. I'm excited to finish the series, though, because I've heard the ending is phenomenal. That's the one thing I keep reading. So I haven't spoiled it for myself, so it'll be fresh when I see it in the next couple of days. I might actually have some time.
Can't 1.5 day, 13 hours power through it like I did.
If I had that kind of time, man. If I had that kind of time, I ain't got that kind of time.
Yeah.
But I mean, well, so speaking of the Netflix series in general, I mean, we love Daredevil. What I've seen, you seem definitely very positive on the series. There's a rumor going around that all 4 of the Defenders, so Daredevil, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Jessica Jones, all the Netflix series are going to be in Infinity War. It's not a confirmed, it's just kind of a rumor going around, but I actually believe it.
Me too.
I do, because they have these toys in the toy box. Why not use them? You know what I mean? And they are part of the cinematic universe. So why not have them? Even if it's Murdoch in there as a lawyer, or even if it's, not as themselves in action roles, but in, little parts. I mean, you have to find some way to weave them in there. So what % chance would you give it that they're probably going to use the Netflix characters in Infinity War Part 1, 2, or both?
If you asked me before Daredevil took off as well as it did, I would have said 40%, like less than half. Now I want to say it's more like 60-75%, just because Daredevil did so well that it's going to be a positive reaction to see him in that. And that's
kind of where I'm sitting too, like 75-80% that you're going to see it, because I guess the next one, which is Jessica Jones, that's really going to tell if Jessica Jones does as well as Daredevil does and is responded to as highly as Daredevil's been responded to, then it builds the chances even greater. Because Luke Cage and Iron Fist might be, I'm not going to say the easiest of the 4 to do. No, I mean, I think they'll be a little bit easier than Jessica Jones. Jessica Jones will be the hardest. Daredevil already pre-exists in people's minds. They may not know who Daredevil is, but they've heard of Daredevil. Luke Cage and Iron Fist are definitely lesser known, but easier to make series for, and great series for, especially with Mike Coulter as Luke Cage, who we got to see the first shot of him. Speaking of Jessica Jones, we saw some set photos this week of the Jessica Jones show. So you got to see Jessica Jones and Luke Cage, or the actor Mike Coulter, on a motorcycle together. A couple other scenes, and then we got to see the guy who plays Purple Man. What's his name?
David Tennant.
Yes, David
from
Tennant.
Doctor Who.
Doctor Who.
I
he was
am
in Harry
excited.
Potter. I think that dude's creepy. I think he's going to be a great Purple Man. Purple Man is a terrifying. He can do
because that's who his character was in Doctor Who. Was very, because I guess very rough 30-second Doctor Who explain. He's some sort of he's lived for hundreds and hundreds of years, goes through time and space, travels in a box, and that's his spaceship. David Tennant is considered the most chaotic evil of all the doctors, because he's one of the very few that will kill people. Not like stab him in the head, kill people, but like he'll give you one chance. And if you F up, he will let you destroy yourself. So you know what I mean? Like one dude, he was fighting in the very beginning of one of the things, and he gave the chance, like basically gave him surrender and I'll let you go. Right. He didn't, so he threw him off a ship and fell to his death. So it's like he is totally willing to kill someone, and that's why I think he can play a crazy dude very well. But at the same time, he also played a reserved dude very well. So I think he'll play a very good snap kind of character. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, well, look at, I mean, even his small role in Harry Potter, he was calm and then he'd snap and he'd become that, do all those facial.
So I think this is
and stuff like that.
It's going to be another good cast, just like Kingpin. I think it's going to be a very well done cast.
If he can pull off Purple Man anywhere close to what Vincent D'Onofrio,
that sounds very right,
pulled off as Kingpin. Again, sorry, Mike. It'll be great. It'll be great. So yeah, I mean the Netflix stuff is gonna be crazy. And you know what I've been thinking about is if this Netflix stuff stays as popular, they're gonna have a phase 2. You know what I mean? Where you could see some other characters like Punisher. Punisher would be a great Netflix series. Ghost Rider would also be a really good Netflix series.
Yeah, Ghost Rider. There's a
Ghost
lot of
Rider
them.
would be great.
The dark ones would be
we already
perfect.
we did already talk about
Mentioned
that,
it, yeah.
Mentioned it, yeah.
The darker ones make for better Netflix series,
they
honestly.
do. Well, it leads to a more long form storytelling than a 2-hour movie. You know what I mean? And a lot of those characters need that, especially your lesser known characters. They need that more laid out story to introduce people. Yeah, less people are going to see it than are going to go see a movie, but if you really want to see it, you'll find it.
Well, and the positive on that end too is like Kingpin. Okay, you don't know who Daredevil is. You hop into the series. If it's mostly Daredevil, Snoresville. You don't know you're not invested in the villain unless they make the villain right. If it's a movie, you can't play the villain up as well as you did in that series.
It does, yeah, just you don't have the time. You don't have the time for the character development like you do in a series.
Right.
Yeah,
Batman's Joker has so much backstory that even people who didn't know of him, they heard of
Ledger
him.
played it perfectly.
Right.
I mean, he played it absolutely perfectly.
But you didn't need that sculpting of the character that you needed with Kingpin. Right. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Because before this, I'm like, Kingpin, whatever. He's mob guy or something. Now it's like, oh, Kingpin. Yeah. He is.
Well, I really hope they use him going forward in other properties. I'd love to see him on the big screen continuing his role as Kingpin Daredevil Season 2. The Defenders, mini series, they gotta utilize him because he's just fantastic. But all right, moving on from there, video game news. Back to Star Wars. Mm-hmm. So we finally got a trailer for Star Wars Battlefront, which we've been waiting for this game for what seems like years. I mean, they announced this game I think 2-3 years ago, and it's just been in production. Then Star Wars changes hands. So now I think it's made by DICE, part of EA. I mean, EA makes the games for.
Oh, you shouldn't have told me that. Ooh, that hurts.
I think it's DICE. I think. Don't quote me on that.
EA
but
is rough. Oh,
we watched the trailer. We watched the trailer though.
It doesn't matter. EA
really?
is rough. Ho. I mean, they have good games, but what they do is they find good properties, buy them, and then they turn them into microtransaction. Well, see,
they didn't buy this. They got they're contracted out from Disney. So LucasArts, I think, still has a part in it. I think it's not
Disney. If you know what's good for you, if they misstep once,
BioWare is part of EA.
No, I know, and they destroyed Mass Effect 3. Like the game's good, but the multiplayer is microtransaction. Oh, there's some problems. I've got some deep rooted hate for EA. Even my dad, he doesn't really play video games anymore. But when I told him, oh, EA owns this, whatever, and he's like,
all right. Enough on the rant of EA. Yeah. Before you knew that it was EA,
I was excited. Yeah.
Okay, there we go. It looks good. I don't think we actually saw gameplay footage. Maybe like a couple seconds of some of the flying stuff.
Maybe.
But it looked amazing. Mm-hmm, I mean, it looked some of the what looked like the Moon of Endor. Yeah. Some of that stuff looked awesome. The Planet Hoth stuff looked awesome. Or the Ice World. No confirmation on what planets those are, but we can assume
it's still buy-worthy.
It looked good.
Yeah,
definitely buy-worthy. I want to definitely get that game.
I'd put it on your list at least. If it ends up being rough, just don't invest too much into any of their microtransactions. Or that's one of the ones where you
Redbox it for a night.
Yeah,
because that's what I'm thinking about doing with games.
I'm not a big Redboxer.
I'm not either, but I don't want to drop $60 on a game that I'm going to hate
or get
through in like a second.
I guess I don't. Did they say where
PCs and me just don't go hand in hand.
We're not going to get too into video games.
Yeah, no, because we can go way deep on that one.
Well, and we don't want to start some conflicts.
Well, either way, so Battlefront trailer came out. It looked awesome. We'll see what ends up happening, with actual some gameplay footage. But then going on from there, Mortal Kombat X came out this past week. Got to check out a little bit of it. Best Mortal Kombat of all Mortal Kombats from everything I'm hearing and seeing and reading. The characters, they have 8 new characters.
8 brand spanking new.
Never been in a Mortal Kombat before that they designed from scratch.
Not reskins, nothing. Nope. They are new characters.
And with the pre-existing characters, they have different variations of them that you can pick. So it's not just the basic character you're used to. You have different sets.
They have like 3 different stances from what I understand.
Right.
And so there's 24 characters total. each with 3 different stances totals out at almost 75 technically different characters if you count stances as different characters, which I sort of do because you play them so different that it's going to matter.
Right.
And Mortal Kombat 9, the controls were so much tighter than when they did DC versus
Well, this
Mortal
is supposed
Kombat.
to be like really fluid.
That's
from
what I mean.
hear.
I heard
it looks gorgeous.
I heard it's better, and I thought 9 was as good as they could get with fluid
with the
controls,
with the combat battle,
with the controls,
the combat control.
But I was also used Mortal Kombat versus DCU was rough.
Yeah, that
you
was a rough
had to
game.
use the D-pad to pull off combos. You could not use the joystick; it would
It just
not
wouldn't
register.
work.
No.
Yeah, because
It
it
was
wouldn't
rough.
pick up fast enough.
It was rough.
No, that was no. So that game looks good. I might actually, well, I'm not gonna say buy that game, but I might actually redbox that one for a night because Mortal Kombat one, I'll honestly, like any fighting game, I get bored after a few hours. I just do.
They're good girlfriend games. Good games to play with the lady, because you just
Little Big Planet is a good girlfriend.
no,
game.
trust me. You beat their ass a couple times, then you let them win, and you're like, oh, you're so good, babe.
That sounds like
good. Trust me. And then
beat
you
them
get
a couple times.
competitive.
Let them win. That's what I do with my 8-year-old nephew.
No, trust me. And then they get competitive, gets a little rough.
No, we can call mine down here right now, and she'll tell you no, that will never happen. She would never pick up. Never. It'll never.
Oh.
So, all right. Well, that's the video game news for the week, pretty much. There was a couple of little things, but nothing really worth mentioning until, E3 is not that far away, and then it's going to be that week's going to be an enormous amount of video game news.
Yeah.
We might actually do a special video for E3 because I don't want to have to try to pack it into the regular week show.
Well, yeah.
So we might just do like a side video for that one. Same thing with Comic-Con when that happens, the San Diego Comic-Con side video, because it's going to be either
much.
Either that or it's the whole show.
Yeah.
And I'd just rather do side videos.
I guess
at that point.
if you guys don't care,
Well,
leave it.
that's behind the scenes type stuff.
Well, I
Talk
mean,
about
if you
later.
guys want an hour or longer video, let us know. If that's what you want for those
of
big
like
events.
E3 of
Right.
Comic-Con. If you
To
guys are
just
interested in seeing like
combine
full
episodes.
full recaps of the whole shows, or
If you want separate
interested,
videos,
definitely let us know. Definitely let
separate
us know.
videos.
So, all right, let's hit some quick hits real quick and wrap this thing up. So, we got 4 or 5 quick hits. I can't really
Counting.
Too many blue cups tonight. So, number 1, Olivia Munn was announced as Psylocke in X-Men Apocalypse. We have Wonder Woman loses a director and then gets a director. We also have James Wan's in discussions to direct Aquaman. And Mark Ruffalo kind of put it out there that Universal still owns the rights to the Hulk standalones, and that he's more than willing to do a Planet Hulk movie at some point.
We need
so
that.
grab 1 or 2, and what do you think?
We need a Planet Hulk movie, man. Or some Hulk standalone. Really bad.
I'll agree with that for sure.
People love him, but he hasn't hit the spotlight. He's a tough sell to do in a movie, but
Marvel likes to say he works better in a group setting.
yeah,
because.
and he
I
does.
don't buy. I guess, but I'd like to see it. If you
I
do it
agree.
right, you could do a standalone.
I agree.
You just got to do a lot. It's more Bruce Banner. You got to have the balance between Bruce Banner and the Hulk, and like the story and smashing things. There has to be a balance. It can't be one or the other. You can't have no Hulk and all Banner, or all Hulk and no Banner. There's not enough meat on the bones for a story to develop there. You got to have that balance between the two.
Well, and I know a few people who want to see. They want.
There's more than a few of us out there who want to see a standalone. Planet Hulk's top of the list, but there's some other ones. It'll be interesting to see too if they shoot him out into space at the end of Age of Ultron. If somehow Hulk ends up in space, because that could open him up to not a Planet Hulk, but showing up in Guardians of the Galaxy, and then maybe that's the way that the Guardians end up coming to Earth is to return Banner and Hulk. Thanos is on the way. Infinity War. It's just one of my ideas. Probably not going to happen, but
We're
it'd
gonna
be
need
kind of
like
cool.
a board.
Start tracking Thor's prognostications.
See how many times you're right and wrong. I have
a feeling there'll be
faith.
more checks in the wrong column than the right column.
You haven't done bad so
50-50.
far. You haven't done
Whatever.
bad so far.
Well, I'm 1-0. I'm 1-0 as we stand right now.
There's a perfect score.
That is a perfect score right now. The one I actually am the most intrigued by is the Wonder Woman news. So they lost their director, who had directed some episodes of Breaking Bad, I think some Game of Thrones and stuff like that. And then they broke up over creative differences, or she left the project over creative differences, which is never a good thing. But then they got, I can't remember her name, but the lady who was going to do the Thor: The Dark World, the first director for Thor: The Dark World, who actually left that project over creative differences.
Wonder Woman's going to be Captain America all over again.
So she left one project over creative differences to pick up the Wonder Woman project that the director had just left for creative differences. It's not a warm, fuzzy feeling that gives you, but it's a funny irony that, how things transpired a little bit. I don't think, with how far we are from the actual Wonder Woman movie, I don't think it's really anything to be nervous about or like worried about. I think we'll be fine. It's just kind of one of those things. It doesn't happen a lot, but when it happens, I mean, look at Edgar Wright leaving Ant-Man. Ant-Man still looks fantastic.
Yeah.
And he was on that project for like 3-4 years. Edgar Wright was attached to that project. This director that left was only attached since November. So I'm really, I don't think it's that big of a...
That's not my worry, though. My worry is this next one's going to hop, skippity, and
She's
jump.
going to take off too?
And
If
that's
that
what
happens,
happened to Captain America.
If that happens, then be worried. If they lose two both over creative differences, well, then that one director's got to be worried. She can't keep turning down these giant studios like Disney and Warner Brothers over creative differences.
She'll never get a job.
Yeah, that's not going to make you, favorited by a lot of movie studios to bring you on board for pictures if you're jumping off.
Not going to make her George Lucas.
No. I also, I'm also pretty intrigued with the James Wan directing Aquaman. Realistically, I mean, coming off Furious 7, which is, probably over $1 billion right now as we're sitting here. Conjuring, I loved. So he's done the horror genre. He's done a little bit of the action stuff. He had extraordinary circumstances on Furious 7. To see him take over Aquaman, that could be something special. I would like to see that. Now, I know he's under contract, I think, for 2 more Furious movies. So it depends on if they want him back, and if maybe between 8 and 9 he could fit Aquaman in. So scheduling needs to be worked out. I mean, it's just negotiations right now, but I think it's good news. I mean, he's a great director, obviously. So, that's never a bad thing to add great talent to a project.
Gonna bring The Rock in to Aquaman?
I don't think he can. Well, no, he can't because Rock's Black Adam, and it's DC. So you couldn't bring Black Adam.
Oh yeah, that's
in,
right.
I
completely forgot that.
Yeah, no, you couldn't. I mean, I'm sure he'd love to if he could, but yeah, he can't. He can't bring. I'm curious to see. I hope Aquaman's bad guy in the first movie is Black Manta. That would be, I mean, that's the ultimate Aquaman villain. So it's kind of who they need to use for that first standalone movie. Let us know what you guys think. The Olivia Munn news, which is probably the least interesting. But if you look at that, not that that's not interesting, but of the 4 quick topics, I mean, she's gorgeous, but that cast for X-Men now is huge.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I looked at a picture online, and they had all of it lined up. So now you have the First Class and Days of Future Past people. Then you add Jean Grey, Storm, Cyclops, Nightcrawler.
Starting to look
Angel,
like a Mortal Kombat fighter roster.
Psylocke. It's getting up there. And who knows how much some of these characters are going to be in the movie. Who knows how intricate of a part they're going to be to the story. But yeah, so like we said, I mean, big news. Let us know what you guys think. We always want your guys' opinions. Questions for next week. I'm sure it's going to be another busy week because it just doesn't seem to stop right now with all this. With all this
when
news.
It rains, it pours.
Yeah, which is good for us. Gives us stuff to talk about.
Gives you guys stuff to talk about.
That's right. Let us know what you guys think. So thanks for joining us tonight, as always. I'm your host, Thor. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram. Thor is great. Brian, where can they find us?
We have the Facebook page, which I think, and comment on YouTube. I think shout out deserves. Battlefront, we talked about it because someone commented.
Oh yeah, pause undo. Let us know what you think in the comments on this video.
So
he
if-
asked for the Battlefront stuff, and
You
we
asked
deliver.
for, yeah, we will deliver. So Facebook, Instagram, whatever, you
Twitter.
send it. You send us stuff. You ask us to talk about something, we'll deliver. So
We're all over the place.
More suggestions. We'll talk about whatever you guys want.
Well, Basement Dwellers, with that being said, you guys have a great week, and we'll see you on the next episode. If you like what you just saw, make sure you click that button below and subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our videos, and you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram.